So guys, what we have here is a function, okay? I'll start off with question 8. Have you see question 8? It's x squared minus 1x minus 2 less than or equal to 0. If you were to draw this function out, what does it look like? This is a U-shaped function. Can anybody tell me why it's a U-shaped function? Sorry? Positive x squared, okay? Now, what I'd really like to know is, where does it cross the axis? Does it cross it over here? Is it over here? Is it over here? I don't know, do I? Don't know for sure. So look, I don't know where to place it really. That's a problem. So what you do, if you want to find out where your two dots are, what you do is this. You solve the equation equal to 0. You ignore the sign and you solve it normally. Is that right? So what I'm going to do is do the reference number, and we're going to get minus 2. That's going to break up into minus 2 and, so we're going to have x minus 2, x plus 1 equals 0, just for the time being, okay? And then we're going to have x minus 2 equals 0, x equals 2, and x plus 1 equals 0, x equals minus 1. What does that mean for my graph? Is this the correct, oh wait a second, is this the correct location? Why? That's a positive x value, and that's also a positive x value. Tell me a better location for that. Tell me when to stop. About there, isn't it? That's minus 1, which is 1 to the left, and the other one is about 2 to the right. Okay? Now, here's an interesting thing. See this whole function here, yeah? That represents the y value. Okay? When does the y value go lower than 0? Is it bigger than 0 at the moment? It's bigger than 0, it's bigger than 0, it's bigger than 0, it's bigger than 0, and then all of a sudden it equals 0, doesn't it? And then it goes underneath 0, which is what we're looking for, isn't it? It's underneath 0, it's underneath 0, it's underneath 0, and then it's still underneath 0, and then what happens next? Equals 0, and then all of a sudden we're above 0. Do we want the blue part or the green parts? We want the blue parts, yeah? Describe the blue parts. All the x values in between minus 1 and 2. How do you write that down in maths language? X is bigger than minus 1, but smaller than or equal to 2. Now there's a fancy little trick you can do here, by the way. You spin this one around and it becomes minus 1 is smaller than x. That's the same thing as saying x is bigger than or equal to 1. Now there's a little fancy little trick here, okay? I'm going to try and see if I can pull this off. That's another way of explaining your answer. You can sort of mold the x. Remember we used to split the questions in half? You can put your answers back together again to make one. So do you see what I did there? One of them, you have to have the x sort of in the middle of both of them, so that when you drag it across you can actually combine the x's into one. And that's another way of displaying your answer. I'll obviously do another one, yeah? Okay. We'll try, that's when I have to do the reference number. What about the first ones, for example? What about the likes of question 2? Okay. If I was to multiply out question 2, what type of shape is it? Is it a U-shaper or an N-shaper? It'd be a U-shaper because you'd have a positive x squared. Okay, so it's a U-shaper of some variety. I'm just going to put it over here. No idea where it's meant to go. Then I'll go, okay, it's currently half solved for me, isn't it? I solve it equal to 0 first, right? Yeah? So I'm going to get x plus 1 equals 0. This means x equals, and then x minus 3 equals 0, x equals 3. Is this a good graph to represent me? What's a good graph to represent me? That's roughly 1, and this one's roughly 3. Okay, that's good. Good, right? Now, unlike the last time, I want my y value. This is my y value, isn't it? I want my y value to be what? Bigger than 0, right? Y value has to be bigger than 0. I'm going to signify with blue the parts I want. I'll signify with red the parts I don't want. Is it bigger than 0 at the moment? Is it allowed to be equal to 0? So when does it hit red? Now it's equal to 0. Now it's below 0. And then after that, back to blue again. What region do I want for this question? Do I want the blue region or the red region? Blue region. The blue region happens when the x values are smaller than -1. For example, x equals -2 is going to be a blue region because it's a U-shaped curve, isn't it? X bigger than 3 is also going to be a blue region. So it means any value for x smaller than 1, the y value will be bigger than 0. For any x value bigger than 3, the y value will also be bigger than 0. You can actually check your answer if you want. So as an example, see the way it's pick an answer that you think will be blue. Pick any x value you think will result in the blue value. 5. Why'd you pick 5, Luke? It's further up than 3. Put in 5 for x. What do you get? 5 plus 1? 6. 5 minus 3? 2. Is 12 bigger than 0? So that's one of the regions you were looking for. Anything that makes your equation bigger than 0. Let's try something in the red region. What about x equals 0? Is that in the red region? What are you expecting to happen when I use x equals 0? Will it be bigger than? Will the answer be bigger than 0? No, it's in the red region. It's not true. Okay. So 0 plus 1. 0 minus 3. 1 times minus 3. Minus 3 is it bigger than 0? No, it's false. That's why it's in the red region. If I tried x equals minus 3, what would happen? It'd be bigger than 0, hence why it's in the blue region. Okay? Alright, let's try another one now. Oh, I did for this one, they're incompatible. See, I can only, do you not remember that little joint one I did? That only works when it's the in-between section. The outside sections you can't join together. They're two separate parts. Josh was asking me why couldn't I join it together like the last question. It's because the two blue parts are completely separate while the red part is continuous, and that's why I'm allowed to join them and can't join them. Okay, let's try another one. What about the likes of question 12? So I've done 2, 8. How am I doing for time? 15 minutes on the clock. We're doing great. Right, 12. What about 12? Bring the 10 over to your side. Minus 10 greater than equals 0. But I'm going to use equals 0, aren't I? What's the reference number? So x. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Wait. I need to stop drawing it like that. It needs to be a bit wider. Okay. What are my two values then? Okay. What's a good graph for me to draw? Is that a good graph? Is this a good graph? Okay. About there, yeah? Oh, because it's 5. I think I was alright there, to be honest. Now, what are these 2 points? Technically 5, 0 and minus 2, 0. Where it's otherwise known as the roots. The roots are x equals 5, x equals minus 2. Roots are when it will equal 0. Now, remember what I said earlier, okay? That's 5 and that's minus 2. Remember I said earlier, this is the y value. When is the y value? We changed it to this here, didn't we? So when is the y value bigger than or equal to 0? So when is it? Sorry? When is it above the x-axis? You tell me. Which is the red region? The part that doesn't work. It's under it. You don't want the part that's under it, do you? You want the part that's equal to or above. So when does that start and end? So it's in between -2 and 5. That is technically... Wait, no it's not. Oh, sorry. As in, the part that fails is in between -2 and 5. See, we're looking for it to be bigger than 0. The y value has to be bigger than 0. So we're looking for what part? We're looking for this part here, aren't we? And then it equals 0, that's okay. But once it goes below 0, we don't want it. And then what happens next? Up like that. Is everybody alright with that? Okay. So what happens here is we want all the numbers that are smaller than -2, smaller than or equal to -2, and we want all the numbers that are bigger than or equal to 5. Is that alright, guys? Okay. You can't join them together because it's not the red region. See, the green regions are completely separate to each other. I'll find one that you can join together, okay? Question 11, because you want one that you can join together. How much time do we have? Okay, probably not enough. Well, it's enough to do this, but it's going to let you try yourselves, but probably won't have enough time. Okay, so me tell me what to do for this one. U shape or N shape? U shape. Okay, after that, what happens next? Reference number 10. Where'd you get the 10 from, Luke? 2 by 5. What two numbers will multiply to give me 10, but add together to give me -11? 2x squared minus 10x minus 1x plus 5 less than 0. After that, 2x bracket 5. After that, into perfect. And after that, yeah. Okay. Well, technically speaking, I sort of use equals 0, don't I, at the start? So 2x minus 1 equals 0, x minus 5 equals 0, x equals 5, or x equals a half. This is an interesting one. Will this one work? That one doesn't work, does it? Why not? They're both positive, aren't they? So what do I need to do? There you go. Alright. And that is a half, and that is a half, and that is 5. Now, we're looking for when it's smaller than 0. Is it bigger than 0 here? Equals 0 doesn't count. So we're going to use the blue region. This is the region we want, where the y value is beneath 0. So what happens next? Can anybody tell me? What are my answers? Bigger than a half. If it was less than a half, it would be the green region. You want it to be smaller than 0. See the way you want it to be smaller than 0 this time? And x is smaller than 5, okay? Now, this is the one I can join together. How do I know I'm able to merge this together? And it's all one section, isn't it? So how do I join it together again? Anybody remember what I do here? Flip the first fraction, and then that's it. This means all the numbers that are bigger than a half but smaller than 5. Any numbers in this region, when I put them back into the original equation, they will result in a number that's smaller than 0. Guaranteed. Yes, Luke? Last one. Quick last two, 15 and 18. The difference of two squares, God forbid. They throw that one at you, you know. So look at this one. 2x squared less than or equal to 3x. You're going, that doesn't look like the other ones. How do I do that? Okay. You bring it over to your side. Still not a reference number, is it? No. But reference number means solve the question. I'm going to solve the question. X into 2x minus 3 is, anybody? Equals 0. What does that mean? X equals 0, or 2x minus 3 equals 0, and that will mean x will be 3 over 2. What type of graph is a good graph today? Will this one work? Will this one work? Tell me when. There we go. I'm liking this. Okay. Now, here followed by here. That's a 0 and that's a 3 over 2. We are looking for our graph to be bigger than or smaller than the x-axis. Which one? How do you know that? Smaller than or equal to, right? So, what region are we looking for? This region here, the blue region? There, it starts here and finishes at the other one, which means what? X is bigger than 0 and, oh, sorry, bigger than or equal to, smaller than or equal to. Then after that, and after that, here you go. Okay, the only is everybody alright that the only other thing they can do, which is the difference of two squares, and you solve that anyway, and just do the same thing, and it's a U-shaped graph. Okay, great.